Jane, thank you very much for that introduction. As Jane was saying, I look after the digital and innovation side for Buckinghamshire Local Enterprise Partnership, and I'm really honoured to be working alongside BBF on this lunchtime sequence of 3 sessions. And I really do invite you all to come to each of these 3 modules. And we are going to be exploring in the agenda today, firstly, generative AI, and really making it clear what ChatGPT is, why it matters, and how it can make a difference to your day-to-day. So it's all about the key theme here is to take away things that we can actually implement and make a difference. So it's about point 2 on this is the practical, improving efficiency and saving time. Now, I've had 2 businesses in my time, and my challenge always when I was running a business, when I was a small business, when I was 3 or 4 people in my business, was freeing up time so that I could spend time on important things. So that's really what today is about. As Jane was saying, if we've got time at the end, we will answer questions. So any questions that you do have, please put them in the chat. What we are hoping at the end of today is that you will, at the end of this 3 sequence webinars, is you will improve your productivity. And we want you to experiment, to get familiar with ChatGPT. And this is really important because when we have these explosions of new technology, the best way to start, even if you are someone who's not particularly tech savvy, is actually to start using it. So we really want that to happen. Secondly, we want to get insights from case studies. So we are inviting you to share with us over the sequence of three sessions, and come back to us with what you are learning. And in the introduction next month, we're going to look at some of the examples, hopefully, that you have had over the period of a month. So really, it's about doing. And in that process, completing tasks, sharing these experiences, and seeing within your own industry where this tool can really make a difference and free up time. This is the thing that is really going to make a difference day to day. Let's firstly go into the definition. So as Jane was saying, this is a kind of follow on from the AI training we did just before Christmas. It's really understanding what is different about generative AI. So generative AI, we can define it as a form of artificial intelligence. It fits under the kind of umbrella of AI, and it's distinct for a couple of key reasons. One, firstly, the human-like text. If you've had a chance to play around with ChatGPT, you'll see how incredibly lifelike, human, and trustworthy the answers are. So that's the first thing. It's very human-like, and this also corresponds to the images and video that is displayed. And secondly, it's immediate. The answers come in real time. And this, not going into the technicals, this is all powered by something called large language models, which are I guess you can define them as a specialist type of machine learning model that can be used to kind of assess the natural language processing process. So underneath the generative AI umbrella is ChatGPT. So let's understand what ChatGPT is. So ChatGPT is probably the most well-known of the generative AI models that has launched, and it was developed by something called OpenAI, and it launched in November 2022. So it's very recent, only 12 months ago. And you can see here on the slide, I've got an image here of Google Bard, which is the competitor to ChatGPT. We're not going to talk about Google today, but there is an interesting subtext to all this, with Microsoft kind of competing with Google in this generative AI space. And that would be interesting in itself, because in the 3rd session of this sequence of 3, we're going to be examining Microsoft Copilot, which is really exciting. I'm really excited about that. And again, Copilot is something that can really improve our day-to-day efficiency because it's nicely integrated into the Microsoft 365 suite. So that's going to be really useful for us. So that's Chat GPT. And a question for you might be, well, why does it matter? And one of the ways in which we can clearly make that point is actually understanding how quickly ChatGPT reached 1 million users. And the first question I'm going to ask you all in the chat is, I'm going to submit that question to you, is if you can please reveal to me how long you think it took for ChatGPT to reach 1 million users. We can see here in that table, Netflix, it took 3.5 years. More recently, Spotify, 5 months. Instagram, 2.5 months. Can you, I've had a couple of answers here, 2 weeks, 6 weeks. No, it's actually shorter than that. Any other 1 month? It's shorter than that. Any other 2 weeks? Katrina, thank you, Katrina. 2 weeks. Katrina said 2 weeks. Anyone else? I'll actually say it's shorter than that. Kate Rumsey has said 3 days. She's the nearest to this. It's actually 5 days. So incredible when we think about 5 days it took to reach 1 million users. But the important point I'm trying to make today is that this is not just important because of the speed of adoption, but also if you drill down at the actual composition of the users, this is not just early adopters. It's a broad range of people that have really embraced ChatGPT. And the importance for us, I think, as small business owners is that this is not going away. This is going to be part and parcel of our commercial management of our business. So we really need to get familiar with the language and start using it. Some of the costs, just a slide just to explain the cost. So we are focusing today on ChatGPT version 3.5, which is the free plan. Next month, we will be examining some of the options with the paid for plus version. So for the benefit of today, all you need to do is go onto the OpenAI ChatGPT website and you can sign up and start playing around with the free version. So there's no expense required to get engaged in this. So a couple of key points. This thing called a prompt, which we need to be really familiar with. Now, a prompt are the instructions or queries that you enter into the AI's interface to get responses. If you can see at the bottom of that slide here, you've got an example of the interface that when you sign up, and some of you probably played around with this, but the actual prompt that you ask is really, really important, and you can extract much better answers to your queries, particularly if you work in a very niche, small category, based on the skill of prompt of your prompts. So there is a whole kind of field of prompt engineering that we're not going to go into today, but next month I'm going to be explaining how we can become better at prompting. Now, if you think about when search engines first came around, it's very similar to sort of using a search engine to ask the right type of questions in relation to our queries, because the more specific we can be and more descriptive we can be with our prompts and our searches, the better, the more clear and concise answers that we will get, which again will improve our efficiency of what we're doing. So that's prompting. Now I'm going to pass on to Sarah Randall here, who's just going to give us a bit of context about some of the negatives. There has been a lot of press about things like misinformation, but I wanted Sarah to kind of reassure you all that we are on top of this, and just for her to talk through some of the more negative and risks potentially we need to be aware of when we're using ChatGPT. Sarah, over to you.
Thanks, David. Not too negative, I hope. So I'm head of operations for BBF. So one of my responsibilities is the technology that we use. our culture here at BBF is one whereby we embrace new technology, and we're always looking for new and innovative ways of working. But we also heavily rely on our reputation for good governance, and we're Cyber Essentials accredited. Our funders expect that of us, and there's certain funds that we can't bid for without that assurity that we can, we've got a good infrastructure, we can look after data, customer data, safely. And I guess we recognise there's a balance to be struck between embracing new technology and risk. And I thought I was having to think that through where ChatGPT was concerned. And we have to think that through where all new technology is concerned, but especially for ChatGPT. We didn't just allow the use of ChatGPT, we actively encouraged it, and we recognised the potential efficiencies to be gained by our users for this tool. So, we held sessions where I've had team meetings where I've literally logged on and showed people how to use it. We've encouraged people to create accounts. So we really have embraced it. We've provided training and things. But what we also did was we countered that with some guidelines and some do's and don'ts. So the first of those, I'm going to share you sort of three key ones. If you just want to jump onto the next slide, David, is to think really, really carefully about what data you put into the engine. So David mentioned prompts. So that can be a question. So you could ask ChatGPT a question, but what you can also do is put in a lot of data into ChatGPT and ask it to summarize it for you, for example. But any data that you put into ChatGPT is retained by the system to further train itself. And there's some well-documented examples of organisations that have lost that data or given up data, lost the intellectual property. There was one that you may have heard of, well-known organisation, Samsung. Workers lost source code and confidential data. So they were using ChatGPT, they were dropping stuff into it, and it was gone. It was well documented. If you just have to Google it and you'll see it, lots of headlines. So be really, really careful about what data you put into the system. The other thing is human oversight is key. So ChatGPT, as David said, it feels very human-like. You ask it a human question, you ask it a question like you're talking to a human being, and it delivers an answer like it's a human being. It gives you a sense that it's a human talking to a human, but it's not. It generates responses based on patterns it's learned. It doesn't have any understanding of the meaning or the implication. And by its own admission, it's not a reliable source for factual accuracy. You have to read, evaluate, critically evaluate any response that it gives. It's all too easy just to, quickly receive a response and assume it's okay, and you really can't. And you might have heard of this concept of hallucinations, and that's the term that that's used because sometimes ChatGPT can hallucinate and it returns incorrect information. So you really do need to not assume that everything it gives you is correct. The other thing is that it's out of date. So the free version of ChatGPT was trained on data that was a copy of the internet that was dated January 2022. And if you read, I think it's at the top of the screen, it does give you a little bit of a warning, but it's not up to date. And you just need to be mindful of that. And depending on the sort of stuff that you're asking it to do, no relevance at all. Most of the stuff that you ask it to do, it really doesn't matter. But if you're needing something that's very current, then it will matter. You know, if you're asking about sort of current HR legislation, for example, then that is very relevant. So you just need to be aware of it. You need to be mindful of it. Despite the words of caution, I'd really encourage you to for each of you to go away and have a go. I'm sure David will encourage you as well. It's really simple, it's really accessible, and it's only by doing it that you'll see its potential. And I thought I would just leave you with a couple of the things that I've had most benefit from. The first thing is, if any of you have a fear of a blank page, this is where ChatGPT comes into its own. It's great at giving you a starting point. It gives you some inspiration to get you started. That could be an email to a customer, it could be writing a policy, it could be absolutely anything, but it gives you a starting point, it gets you started. And the other thing is that it's fantastic at helping me with my son's homework. And if anybody struggles with maths, not only does it give you the answer, but it breaks it down and it explains every step of the question. And there isn't anything else out there like YouTube. There is nothing else out there to help you with your son's homework like ChatGPT. Give it a go. It's amazing.
Thank you very much,
but do
Sarah.
it carefully.
So there's three things that Sarah's really explaining here. Firstly, sharing personalized information for your company. So you need to have a policy with your staff. If they're using chatbot GPT, make sure they don't share that. Secondly, human oversight. If we are, Katrina was asking about a press release. Yes, we can get an idea for a press release, but we need our own human oversight. Really, really important. I'm going to be pushing this point throughout. Thirdly, out of date. Chatbot GPT only has data up until Jan 2022. So I'm going to keep pushing these 3 points throughout. Thank you very much. So let's get to the meat of what we are talking about today. So these are some ideas on which we can make an instant improvement to our productivity. Firstly, creating outlines. So you're seeing here just an example of how you can save so much time using chatbot GPT to suggest outlines based on the subject you provide. So I'm just showing you an example of just one I prepared. Provide an outline for a document I'm creating around net zero opportunities within the building sector. By the way, if you need any help on net zero, BBF have a great pool of tools for net zero. But if you wanted to expand your service offering, then this is a type of thing where chatbot GPT can be so effective. And you can see on the right hand side, it's all nicely structured. So it's fast, it's all structured. Now, again, going back to Sarah's point, we're not saying that you take this verbatim. You would use it as a guideline to improving your outline created. So let's move on. Secondly, and one of the areas where I personally think ChatGPT is so useful is generating customer service emails. When we are a small business, creating customer service takes up so much time. But again, you can see here through this example on the right-hand side of the slide, it's very detailed, and we can we'll look at this next month. When we use prompts, we can actually include instruction around styling, around toning. So we can take an example like that and adjust it to our own CRM or our own kind of category that we're sending the customer to. And on that point, we can then personalize the customer series. So a lot of small businesses are really, really making improvements in this particular area. It's the personalization of using this tool that can be so effective. So we can link up the ChatGPT and to our CRMs and tailor things like product recommendations or customized marketing messages or just very personalized itinerary. So I've just on the right here taken an example of a BBF business. GM holidays, and you can see when you make a booking online, often as a small business, you have to communicate a lot of important critical information. This is where ChatGPT is so effective for saving time, email, customer experience. So we're really gonna push you for the next month to really start using it in this way. Fourthly, now when I hark back to when I used to have my own small business, that we used to have these kind of team meetings, and I remember feeling so exhausted when we'd have these kind of team brainstorm ideas. And if I knew I had ChatGPT, I'd be over the moon. It's so helpful if we are deciding, okay, Friday morning we're gonna have a brainstorm with all the team, we're gonna get the team together. It's so useful just to have the chatbot GPT on your phone to get ideas about going into that meeting. So here I'm just showing you some examples of how that can be used. And if you just take away one thing today, it will make a difference. So it's just showing you example, provide 5 simple initiatives to improve motivation of your small team. How can I find source of inspiration for improving the commercial resilience of my business without compromising on the quality? That's a good question. We are going through a very tough time with the cost of living crisis and increasing energy. Some of your businesses might be struggling, maybe looking for commercial resilience while we get through this difficult period. Sometimes just to get an idea of, just to open up our minds from using the tool can be very inspiring and provides a really good prelude for a meaningful conversation. And then thirdly, how can I research new services on the fringes of my business? Very clever. So, as a small business, we're always dealing with our day-to-day, and often we might not have much time to actually think about, okay, how do we grow the business? What sort of services could we offer on the fringes? What are the competition doing? All these things can save us time and make us more efficient, and that's really what we and BBF want to do with this series. Creating marketing assets, and this is probably one of the areas where a lot of PR has been focused on ChatGPT. And again, I would exercise caution, go back to Sarah's point about personalizing the marketing assets. And I've seen a lot of smaller businesses going on to LinkedIn and obviously replicating direct stories straight off chatbot GPT. So we need to really personalize it, and I think the personalized point is most important for marketing assets. So I always used to find when I had a small business that limited budget meant I wouldn't be able to afford a marketing agency. Now we can get quite good at content creation for things like new products, or modifying existing content, or just getting ideas for blog posts or social media posts. This again, it's a very time-consuming process when you need to take your head away from your day-to-day and just think about the marketing side. And of course, marketing is such an important part of growing and keeping your position. Let's look at a couple of examples so that we can get some ideas of what I'm talking about here. Related to that is actually improving the SEO impact. So what chatbot, if you're looking to improve the visibility, the traffic coming to your website, maybe locally in Buckinghamshire, improving the SEO can be a really fast, quick way to get customers to your website, get traffic. So you can use Chatbot GPT to optimize the metadata and generate SEO keywords and improve what's called the readability, so that your pages will be indexed higher on the search engine. Let me show you what I mean by this, just so that we're really clear as you watch. On the left-hand side here, we've got an example of, and I just asked a question to Chatbot GPT, suggest some keywords for including in the HTML code and metadata for boosting my SEO visibility around the subject of commercial cleaning. And I chose a commercial cleaning business who had signed up for this webinar. Now, in the former world, we would have to go on to the Google tool, and you'd have to be a pay-per-click member to find out the most popular keywords that consumers would be putting into a search engine, but chatbot GPT will save you so much time finding the commercial keywords for your small business. This will really make a difference to your marketing impact if SEO is a way in which a strategy to boost relevant traffic and inquiries. So that's a real quick win here that can make a difference. Secondly, on the right hand side, I'm just showing you some ideas, and this is a great example of how ChatGPT will just suggest some really effective ideas. And in this question, I'm just asking, so suggest some content ideas for engaging new customers in areas of insurance and how our business may be more price advantageous and environmentally friendly. So these are two big features we know from the BBF research that customers are really keen on right now: price and environmentally friendly businesses. So chatbot GPT again will give us some really clever ideas. Now we might decide actually infographics right now is not for us. We're going to go down the blog post route, and we would maybe suggest, if you do this once a month or once every couple of months, you keep these ideas in a secure shared place and you can go back to them. And if you want to get more comprehensive on this, you can write a plan, create a plan for the whole 12 months ahead. Now, this will, again, give you competitive advantage in the area you work in. So content is fantastic for ChatGPT, but again, alluding to what Sarah was saying earlier, we need to make sure that we personalize it. We are not saying today that you copy and paste an article and put it on LinkedIn, because it's often really obvious. Make sure that you do look over it and qualify it. And I was just going to, Sarah has very kindly said it's quite obvious sometimes when companies have done that. And I'd say, I totally agree with Sarah's comment in the chat that it is really obvious. And again, what we're trying to do is really to get you to think about your unique values. We're not saying here that we lean too much on ChatGPT. It is very much a co-pilot. It's something that's going to help us day to day, but at the final say, it is down to our responsibility to manage this, our process. Eighth is explaining difficult concepts. And if you are someone that likes to learn, then this can be really useful, really quick. Sometimes we come across concepts that we don't understand, or we're going to meet a client who is specialist in a particular area that we don't really understand. Again, chatbot GPT really good for fast, quick learning at speed. I use it when I'm going to a meeting and I don't quite know the category that they're involved in. I had a meeting recently with someone who's in the space on in-orbit manufacturing. I was like, oh my God, I just do not know where to start with in-orbit manufacturing. This was fantastic because it gave me a really fast, systematic view of what in-orbit manufacturing was all about. So in this example, I'm just showing you just an example again of a concept that we might not understand. And again, we are making the point about how it structures the data really, really cleverly. And this is why it's very easy to learn and digest. Remember, when we're learning a new concept, the way in which ChatGPT delivers that information is very key for us to retain it. So I love it. I love the fact it's really quick and it's really systematic. And you can, again, going back to the prompts, we might want to prompt that if you, explain this concept, quantum computing, for example, in a very simple language so I can understand it, in a language of a 9-year-old, for example, so that we can, take out any of the acronyms and make sure that we fully absorb it. So, conclusion, difficult concepts. If you are a small business where there's a lot of very specific language to your industry, maybe when you take on a new member of staff, it's difficult for them to understand the acronyms. You might want to create, a new member of staff guide for them to understand the acronyms in a specialist area of insurance. So we can use that very effectively for day-to-day learning and learning for our staff. Very useful. Hope you're all with me. I'm just going to take a deep breath. We've been going for 40 minutes. Everyone's still there. Great. I hope you're enjoying this. I hope you're getting out. We're going quite quick, but maybe I will slow down a bit in this as we come to the end. So we come into HR, and I think this is an area that we get a lot of feedback. I know that BBF do loads of work in this, is HR and staff. You know, as a small business, it's always really hard to get staff. So we need to really make this process more efficient for us. And what we've come up here is a couple of ideas I think that will really make a difference. Firstly, the recruitment of talent. Now, when you are a small business, the amount of time I recall creating compelling job descriptions, because not only are you trying to make the point about why you're unique, why your business is special, you're trying to make it unique against the big players. You're competing not only for the attention of the talent, but you're competing against your other big players. So we need to be creating compelling job descriptions, and this is where this tool can be so helpful. And we are in the attention. We are in the game of getting attention in the right places and increasing the volume of relevant applications. So this just shows an example here. Again, you can see it's really structured. When I ask chatbot GPT to create a job description for a newly qualified accountant for my plumbing business and highlight the key benefits of flexibility, culture, and performance. So again, it's all about the prompt. The detail of the prompt can really make a difference. And it's fantastic what ChatGPT can do in this arena. And I think I haven't seen a lot about this, but I see this as a real opportunity. If you're struggling to fill a role, I think this could really make a difference for you. So if anyone has used the ChatGPT tool for recruitment, I'd love to hear from you in the chat. Just ping me a point about that question. In relation to this, also generating interview questions. Now, of course, if you're interviewing a junior member staff, that might be quite easy. But if you are a 3 or 4 man sized business, you are interviewing a really crucial role. Say, for example, it's the financial director. This is the absolute critical position for our business. Imagine your typical day, you're really busy, you've been doing loads of stuff. Often it's the energy to really put aside time to think about the difficult kind of questions to ask about their personality and attitude. Now, again, BBF have done lots of research on this. You know, when you're in a small business, the cultural fit is so important. We know that from our research. So how the personality, the attitude of that person, how do we know that this person is going to be the right fit for us, for a small business? Well, this is where this tool can make so much difference to evaluating the candidate. I'm just giving you an example here of how that can make a big difference. And again, it's all in the prompt that we ask. So what are the key questions I'm asking ChatGPT I should ask to assess a candidate to fill a senior accountancy vacancy that will reveal that they are the right personality fit for our dynamic small team? And you're probably thinking, that's us. You know, that's exactly our scenario. And again, I'm not showing you the answer to this, but Chatbot GPT gives you so much useful ideas about the sort of questions you can ask it. And this really can make a huge difference to evaluating, again, the personality, the attitude, the cultural fit. So generating interview questions, assessing people, this is a very time-consuming part for a small business. ChatGPT can make a big difference here. Okay. So we're almost at the end of this core piece of this session, but let us move on. So this in itself is a huge area I can see opportunities for small business. And we live and breathe sales. You know, as a small business, often freeing up time to sell, to engage customers, and have one eye on the commercial bottom line of our business. So it is a really critical part, is actually marrying up our conversations, our emails, our scheduling meetings. All of that is a very time-consuming job. And I know what it's like when you're a small business, when you're trying to get new clients in, when you're trying to differentiate yourself. And this is, again, where ChatGPT, I think, is an absolute diamond, a wealth of information to improve the efficiency of your sales process. Again, I know I said it earlier, but this is a real area that I'm excited about, that we can really help you on. So what Chatbot GPT essentially is, it automating a lot of the time sensitive parts of sales. So for example, if you had a really important meeting last Friday and you need to update the notes that you read, you might get suddenly pulled away when you get back to the office and you forget to update all that information. Well, ChatGPT is really good at like automating that process, making it easier for you to update your sales records. Not only that, it's brilliant for composing personalized emails and make it specific to the CRM. So you might decide, actually, this is quite a unique business. We need to tailor and personalize the follow-up email following that meeting. These are little bits of information that are going to differentiate yourself from all your competition. And this is where we really want to make the point about how this tool can make a difference. It's not, as Sarah was saying, we're not saying it can take away everything, but it can really make a difference. Sales teams can also be better informed for important conversations and be able to identify this upsell. Many entrepreneurs talk about when you're a small business, you need to be really thinking about the upsell. What are the other things that we can upsell? So if we're looking for ideas, this can really help. So we have come to the end of that part of the segment. So we're on about 45 minutes. I've given you 11 points of this presentation. We feel that that's enough for you to work on in advance of the next month. So what I've really talked about in conclusion are kind of some key takeaways that we all want you to take away. So firstly, as Sarah was saying, don't entrust it with too much responsibility. Our point is, this is a co-pilot tool to generate efficiency. Don't entrust it with too much responsibility. Be sure to fact check and proofread any output. This is really important in areas like content marketing, or if we're looking for ideas for new articles to put on social media. That's important. And again, alluding to what Sarah was saying, there is time-sensitive issues if you're looking for more up-to-date information. While the tool can match different tones, ensure that the tone used matches your brand voice and style. We will examine this particular issue next month when we look at prompts. And this is the most important part of all of today, is the test, experiment, and share. We really want that to happen. So those three things are the things that we really want you to take away. Now, on that point, we're almost there. I would like you to we would all like you to download the ChatGPT app to your phones. And I'm doing a demonstration here. I've got it on my phone. This has been a real game changer for me personally. I'm not a programmer. I'm not a tech head. I'm an enthusiastic digital innovation person. So what I've found with myself is, when you download it to your mobile phone, you will dramatically improve your understanding of this technology. And what we'd really like you to do is come to us on the next section next month and be really enthused and say, oh, look, I played around with it with the job adverts, and I can see that it's really made a difference. I had a brainstorming session with my staff. We had some great conversations and ideas. You might decide that actually it didn't work in this area. It didn't work with my marketing. That's okay. But we just want you to share. So if you're on an iOS phone, download it, start experimenting, bring your ideas next month and just have fun with it. Play around with it. There was also a login there for the desktop version of the app. So that's all we're asking you to do. I'm going to, before I do that, now we've been going quite quickly, so let's again take a breath, and I'm going to look at the chat and see if there are any questions that anyone has fired over, and I'm just going to pinpoint any of those questions. Kate Rumsey has asked a good question about taking notes. Yes, I have taken notes using Chatbot GPT, and on the third session of the sequence of 3, we're going to be looking at Copilot. That does this so well. I'm so excited about that particular session because Copilot is really, really exciting and will be so useful. So we'll come back to that point, Kate, but thank you for that question. Katrina has asked,
just come in, David, on that.
Yes.
So if you use something like Teams, was it Helen that asked the question?
It was actually Kate Rumsey.
Kate, sorry,
yeah.
Kate. If you use something like Teams, it produces a transcription. If you drop that transcription into ChatGPT, it will summarize it nicely for you. You just literally copy and paste it and say, can you summarize this? And say, give me the key points of this meeting. ChatGPT does a lovely job.
Thank you, Sarah. Sorry to come off me. Can you do it for an in-person meeting?
An in-person meeting, you'd have to
record it in any way.
You'd have to record it, and then I don't know whether it would take audio. You'd have to have a transcription. There are lots of tools out there that do the transcription, though.
Okay, we'll make a note of that question for next time, and hopefully come back to you with a more clear one, because I know that Copilot can transcript audio. So I'm putting that down as something to do for next month. Thank you for that.
Thank you.
Katrina, how much specific information do I give with regard to my company to generate answers? Well, if you put your company information into the ChatGPT index, then I would suggest, as up to date and specific. If it's information that you don't want to share, then I wouldn't share it. But stories, and use it as a tool. We're really keen for this group of people to get a competitive advantage in their area. So let's be clever with that. Maybe we can share testimonials or awards that you've won, good things about your company. I really do invite you to share that.
You could sorry, I'm going to keep diving in suggestions, but you could, if you've got something written, you could just do a find and replace. So if your company name was BBF, you could just replace BBF with ABC using the find and replace in Word, and then it would effectively anonymize it, and you could then drop it into ChatGPT, and you wouldn't be sharing anything.
Yes, thanks, Sarah. Does that answer the question? I hope Katrina will come back to us if she has any more questions on that. But there's loads of really good questions coming in. I love this. Keep it coming. So how to download my app store on the Android? We'll send you that link afterwards, Neil, and you can just download it onto your phone and get using it. You'll love it, and it's just brilliant. So yes, that answers that question. I'm just going up ahead. But create a chatbot for our website. Will we need the pro version, isn't it? Yes, Pius, I think that's the right name. He's asked about creating a chatbot. Now, there is an API, and I'm actually here with John Jackson, who's going to tell me a bit about APIs this afternoon. It's a bit more of an advanced version of ChatGPT, but we will look at that for next time.
There are lots of off-the-shelf options, though.
Okay, thank you, Sarah.
There are lots of off-the-shelf options for chatbots that use the ChatGPT engine. So it depends what your website is, but if you've got like a WordPress website, there are already ChatGPT driven chatbots. So it depends on your website, but ChatGPT is just the engine. You need something that sits between the website and ChatGPT, that does the clever bit of, or the pretty bit, that the customer can type the question in and it return the answer on your website in a sort of brand friendly, interactive way. And there's lots of tools out there already that use the chat. So if you just Google ChatGPT driven chatbot or ChatGPT chatbot, you'll get lots of stuff on Google.
Thank you, Sarah. So Pius, if you Google with your content management system, if you are using WordPress, we know that there are extensions that you can use to create your own chatbot for your own website. But if you have any questions, please ping us and we'll answer. Sarah or I will send you a link of some of the tools that are available for that particular purpose. I'm just reading a couple of other questions. We're coming near the end. It's obviously coming. I'm just reading a post from Sarah. Helen, actually, we're going to answer that. It's a marketing question, so we'll come back to that next month. I'm aware of time, but if you do have any other questions, you're welcome to ping them out to me. I do welcome questions, interaction, sharing. That's great. That's the flavor of what we want with these sessions. So we're coming to the end before, and we're just going to wrap up with some kind of information about what events are coming up with BBF. But someone has asked about the next webinar, and I'm really excited about this because we've got Karis Dorrit, who's going to be talking about the marketing. She's doing some amazing things with images and creativity and the use of more creative visual stuff for smaller businesses. So she's going to be joining us on Tuesday, February 20th. We're going to be looking at prompts and some other, hopefully discussing some of the examples of how you are using it. So we're really excited about that session. And I'm going to pass back to the team just to wrap up. So thank you for being with us. We've got 10 more minutes and we're just going to quickly wrap up, and I'll pass back to BBF. Thank you for staying with me.
David, thank you so much this morning. That really has been a whistle-stop tour in about 45, 50 minutes of AI. And hopefully that really has maybe given us some inspiration to make a start, to venture into, for some of us, into the unknown. But equally, it's hopefully enabled some of the people who have already tried it to experiment a bit more and actually start to let us think how we practically can apply it to our business. And that's what it's all about. How do we take some of these ideas and to really make them beneficial to the business in so many different ways? So thank you, David. I think we've already got some great questions coming in. And I know it's what's even great is actually people are helping each other answer some of these questions. So thank you to everyone who has either raised a question or even helped to answer someone else's questions. So thank you very much for that. That's really appreciated. So thank you. What I equally wanted to just do is that there are the details of the next couple of sessions. We've already talked about that one, and the next one then is the 12th of March, which then for put those dates in your diary. Now it's going to be at the same time, 12 to 1 o'clock on those particular dates. And there's the scan if everyone wants to just take a note of those QR codes there before I move on. And I think it's also been put in the chat if I'm correct there as well. So lots of different challenges we're facing from our business. And I would just want to let people know that if you are looking for that kind of helping hand, you know, David right at the beginning said that running a business can be very lonely. You might have people around you, but actually as a business owner, taking those decisions on your own can be tough. And we appreciate that. I know what that feels like to wake up in the middle of the night thinking, you know, there's an issue with the business or whatever. And I've got a team of business advisors that have all been through that. But we're really here to help you make a difference to your business. So we've got a great program. It's all amazingly free to you. So reach out and let us know how we can actually help and support you with time with one of our business advisors and some great other masterclass activities. And I know some of you have already participated in that previously, but what the amazing thing is that we have a new round of funding and we can help people again. So do come and pick up the phone to us, send me an email, and we'd love to have a chat to how the growth program can help and support people today grow and develop their business. Lots of different things. Teresa there, great opportunity to really make a difference for her business. So that was just one example of what we're able to offer there. So David's already mentioned it. We do also have some support for our with your business with Net Zero. It's about making an understanding as to how you as a business owner and business people can make a difference with Net Zero. And what we're able to offer is how to understand how to reduce not only your bills, but understand what your carbon footprint is for your business, and then understand what difference you can make. And also then it's all helps part of that messaging across back out to your customers. So we can help in that net zero, and obviously what is good for the business must be good for everyone as well. So
Jane, I was just going to add to what you're saying that BBF have a fantastic tool. If you're a small business, you don't have much time to get involved in net zero. You've got a brilliant tool for just assessing your own carbon footprint, which I've sent to a couple of clients. So if you're starting on the net zero journey, I really do recommend you go onto here and just, it's a brilliant information on it.
Yeah, so absolutely, David. So thank you for that, those comments there as well. And likewise, there's some great, these 1 hour sessions, online sessions, talking about very relevant subjects, getting you thinking, getting you started on this net zero journey. So we've got a couple. One actually happens to be tomorrow, then the 21st of February, and then the 20th of March. So do get involved in these net zero power hours as well. Some great opportunity to get involved with other business owners as well. Many of you, because that is the nature of Buckinghamshire, actually are in rural locations. So we just wanted to remind you that there is a grant for businesses that are in a rural location. It's a capital-based grant. So it's for individual grants up from 2,500. It is part funded. So if you have any interest and you'd like to find out whether you are in that right kind of location, then please contact us there. Contact my colleague Will, or just call the general helpline and we will help you understand what those opportunities are for you. It's a great opportunity to pick up some grant funding there. And as we head towards March, I would be completely remiss of me if I don't mention the Skill Show. Many of you will already probably know about this, but the Skill Show is a great opportunity for business owners to think about the future of their own workforce. It's an opportunity for you as businesses to get in front of young people, and ultimately young people are going to be the future workforce of your business and all of our businesses. So we need to inspire our young people to get involved in those businesses. And so the Buck Skill Show is an opportunity on the 6th and 7th of March to present your business in a very interactive way in front of an amazing 5,200 people. That's at the moment how many people are booked in to come to that Skill Show over those 2 days. It's amazing. So we've got school people coming in, and on the evening of the 6th, it is open for all people, old and young, etc. So whether it is parents taking other children, or whether it's just individual people coming and having a look at what are the skills going to be available with businesses in the Buckinghamshire area. So it's a great one for your diary. If you've got young people yourself who are thinking what kind of options they need to be taking, what kind of careers they want to be doing in the future, so you need to be attending that session. Don't miss it. It's absolutely fabulous, and it has been and we equally need our business owners to get involved. If you want more information, then please contact us. So more than anything today, thank you for coming. Thank you for being involved, and get involved with what we are trying to do. It is about supporting each other, but we're here to support you. So it is, taking part, getting involved is absolutely so rewarding for so many things. Ultimately, thank you for being here today. It really has made a difference. We've had some great conversations, great questions, and we will endeavour to pick up on as many as we can. And in answers to the next session, we will, on this AI session, we will try and answer those and do whatever we can. So thank you very much. Do book onto those other sessions. It's not an automatic thing that you booking on today will mean that you're booked onto the next two. So do book onto those individual sessions as well. So get involved, and I really look forward to hopefully speaking with some of you following this session. Hopefully it's helped to answer some of what those questions we raised some months ago on when we started to look at Focus on AI. So thanks once again. Lovely to have you with us today, and we look forward to seeing you next time. And dead on 1 o'clock, I would like to say have a great rest of the day. Thank you to David and to everyone here for coming along. It's been a great session, and hopefully we'll see you all again soon.